Welcome back to the Fruitful Three Show, where I am joined once again by my big brother Levi.
I'm back.
Back again. Levi's back. Tell a friend.
It's back in black.
You're wearing khakis, bro.
They don't know that.
Now they do. I'm Isaiah. Today where we typically take deep dives into the challenges shaping our lives and uncover fresh perspectives on how we can live better, fuller, and more intentional lives. Today, we are tackling something that hits close to home for almost all of us, and that we have talked before a little bit as a segment on one of our other episodes this season, the 9-to-5 grind.
Good old Dolly Parton.
Yes.
If you don't know that song, I'd highly recommend you go listen to it. It's probably one of her best songs out there. Actually, it's probably one of the best country songs out there.
The 9 to 5. What if I told you the 9 to 5 work schedule wasn't just an institution, but an experiment? What if its very structure was designed not to foster creativity, but to create workers instead of thinkers? Stick around, because we're going to dive into the history, the pros, the cons, and how we can rethink our relationship with work to prioritize people over profit. Maybe next time we should do something about greed. But first,
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, is just around the corner. And so, show your love and style, I actually have some more merch coming on the way. It's just not here yet. So show your love and style with the perfect gift for your partner. Fresh drip from icedertainment.net/drip. Nothing says I care like keeping them looking good and feeling confident. Shop now and make this Valentine's Day to remember.
Yeah.
Woo!
Will you be my Valentine?
Yeah. Let's start with a little history. The 9-to-5 work week, as we know it, was popularized. I cannot speak again tonight. In 1926 by Henry Ford. Ford reduced the work week from 6 days to 5 days in his factories, betting that workers, keyword betting, that workers with more free time would spend it consuming goods like, say, Ford cars. It wasn't just about making life better for workers, it was about driving economic growth.
Okay. Let's dive a little bit more into that, because I actually did research this time. Oh, I'm not free spitting. All right, so the 9-to-5 work schedule, often viewed as a standard in modern employment, traces its origins back to the Industrial Revolution. Before this period, most workers, particularly in agrarian societies, worked from sunrise to sunset, with hours varying based on daylight. The advent of industrialization in the 18th and 19th centuries, however, led to the rise of factories and mass production, which required workers to adhere to set hours for the first time. Initially, factory workers endured long, grueling hours, often as much as 12 to 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. These conditions were driven by the need for maximum productivity, with employers focusing on the efficiency and profits rather than the well-being of workers. It wasn't until the early 20th century that labor movements began to push for more reasonable working hours. Workers' rights advocates, including trade unions, championed the cause of reducing work hours to allow for a better work-life balance and to combat the physical toll long hours had on the body. As Isaiah mentioned, the turning point came in 1914 when Henry Ford, the founder of Ford Motor Company, introduced the 40-hour work week for his employees. This was a revolutionary move, as Ford recognized that giving workers more leisure time not only improved their health and morale, but also increased productivity. The success of this model was significant as it proved that shorter working hours could benefit both the employer and the employee. Ford's decision also reflected a broader shift in societal values during the early 20th century as the need for standardized work hours became more prominent. The concept of the 9 to 5 schedule was further solidified with the passing of the Fair Labor Standards Act in 1938. This U.S. federal law established the 40-hour work week as the standard, set overtime pay regulations, and improved working conditions as the FLSA gained traction. The 9 to 5 workday became widely adopted across various industries. Yep. So the original purpose of the 9 to 5 workday was to ensure a structured and predictable routine for workers, allowing them to have more leisure time, improve living conditions, and protect against exploitation. It also aimed to foster a healthier work-life balance, recognizing the detrimental effects of excessive long work hours on both workers' well-being and their productivity. Over time, the standard schedule became ingrained in the cultural and economic fabric of many industrialized nations.
Lucky you go.
I know.
So, even earlier, oh my goodness, philosophers, I'm going to call them philosophers. I know it's not philosophers. Like John D. Rockefeller and Frederick T. Gates were shaping education with similar goals. In 1903, they established the GEB, or General Education Board, which aimed to standardize education across the U.S. Critics argued that this model prioritized creating disciplined, obedient workers over fostering independent thinkers. Frederick T. Gates, one of its architects, once said, "In our dreams, we have limitless resources, and the people yield themselves with perfect docility to our molding hand." Chilling, right?
So I did a little bit of research on this, and so I kind of figured out how the school system was actually structured to the 9 to 5. So here's the history of how it's, or not history, but how this is how they structured the school system to meet the 9 to 5 work schedule and to train people on this is how you're going to live your life from like kindergarten through the rest of your life. So the structure of the school system is largely influenced by the traditional 9 to 5 work schedule, reflecting societal expectations of productivity and routine. Schools typically operate during the day with classes beginning around 8 or 9 a.m. and ending around 3 or 4 p.m., which mirrors a typical workday. This alignment allows parents to drop their children off at school before heading to their own jobs and pick them up afterwards, maintaining convenience for working families. The design of the school day also reflects the traditional workday in terms of breaks and schedules. There is often a morning break, a lunch break, and short intervals between classes, mimicking the kind of structured time management seen in workplaces. The academic calendar is similarly structured to accommodate holidays and time off that align with common work schedules, such as summer breaks, weekends, and winter holidays. Additionally, the school system's emphasis on routine punctuality and time management also mirrors the expectations replaced on employees in most jobs. This alignment helps instill habits that will be beneficial in future careers, including the ability to follow a set schedule and prioritize tasks within a fixed time frame. The school system's design, therefore, serves not only educational purposes, but also prepares students for the societal work structure that they will eventually enter.
I've been thinking about that, before a little off topic. So I was really thinking about that earlier. So, high school is more reflective of the 9 to 5, like the office jobs, right? Where college more reflects like being a boss or a manager.
Yeah.
Got more time, right? Well, then I got to thinking, and in high school we got like 2 weeks off for Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Then in the workforce, I don't get 2 weeks off at Christmas. I think there's something a little fishy there. Either high school has to change to the 9 to 5 work schedule, or we gotta change the high school schedule.
So I saw something. You just made me think of something I saw earlier this week. So it's funny because you take out a loan to pay for college to help you get a better paying job, only to pay that loan back. Crazy, huh?
But you can't take a loan out to start a business.
Yeah.
It's 10 times harder. What the heck, bro?
I know. It makes no sense.
So with that being said, the structure we're familiar with today wasn't designed to help us flourish as creative, passionate individuals. It was designed to make us productive cogs in a machine like the Matrix, dog.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's crazy how they took the 9 to 5, how they took like the 9 to 5 system, and they're like, oh, let's implant that into kids. So then when they get out of high school, they don't know. Well, back in the day, at one time, high school was optional. So I mean, even by the time you graduated 8th grade, you still had that for 8 years and planted in your brain that was.
But then you could have started out like, think about now in this generation, if you could have graduated in 8th grade, and you had all the knowledge of high school. You could really be successful at this point in time. And there are some people that do that in high school and become successful at this point in time.
Yeah. Like I said, and one good person I can think of is, not many people know this, but Grandpa. Grandpa is one of those guys that, I mean, you can go ask almost any old-time farmer, I would say 80 plus years old, that if they went to high school or not, I guarantee you most of them will tell you no. I mean, there's probably a few out there that did, but a lot of those said no, and they went and worked on the farm, and look at how much more they learned on the farm than what they actually learned in a school system. Like, that right there shows you that there's definitely a flaw in the system.
I've learned a lot more outside of the school system so far than what I did inside the school system. And I learned a lot in school. I'll be honest. I did learn a lot. But
what is it? It's called 17 again? Where the
peach fuzz on my face, Chevy, looking kind of heavy, selling it, dipping away. Yeah. Anyway, what?
But there's a movie out there called 17 again. The dad gets thrown back into 17 and ends up becoming like best friends with his son. But like, I've always thought about that too, is like, what would happen if I went back in time knowing like what I know now?
That'd be crazy.
Like, you can't do, like, you physically can't do that unless someone magically makes a time machine, which I doubt is gonna happen.
I don't know. There's some conspiracy theories that suggest otherwise.
As
the man something effect. The Mandela effect.
Yeah. As Grandma used to always tell me, if you try to play God, you're asking for disaster.
That's why there's fires in LA. I joke. What's happening in LA is serious. I apologize. Anyway.
Yeah. I just feel bad. Like, not trying to get off topic here, but I feel bad because like more people are donating money to the fires in California than what they did to the floods in like North Carolina and the hurricane damage down there, or in the Carolinas. So I feel like, honestly, I respect the fact that everybody's taking the time and like making the California fires a big deal, and they're investing their time and their money into it. But honestly, I feel bad for the people who got hit by hurricanes a few months ago, and some of those people are still living in tents because they ain't got no houses. So you gotta kind of pick and choose your battles here, people.
Mm-hmm.
And no offense, but you would think California's got a bunch of money with Hollywood and everything else to help sustain that compared to like the Californias. So
You mean the
Carolinas. You knew where I was trying to go.
So moving on. Now to be fair, the 9 to 5 schedule isn't all bad. Let's look at the pros and cons of the system. Pros. Because we know positivity. You get a structured routine. A predictable schedule can create stability and help with personalized organization. It can even improve your sleep habits because you know you're on a schedule. Yeah, mumble jumble, and it's pretty nice. You know, it teaches you discipline for chasing your own dreams. The work-life balance. Defined hours make it easier to disconnect from work at the end of the day and participate in family and social activities. Do you participate in family and social activities?
Kind of, sort of. So,
would you say you'd have more time if you weren't on the 9 to 5 schedule to participate in social?
Let's put it this way: if I was on, first of all, this is a really tough question for me because of the fact that my job is centered around farmers, and a lot of it deals with also the weather. So that makes it really extremely difficult too, because you know how farmers' work hours are and you know how the weather can be. Now,
sunrise to sunset.
I can speak from personal experience. When I was working like 8 to 5 every single day, granted, I still wish I had more time, but I had a lot of time to do things that compared to now, I had a lot more time to do things, and I probably didn't spend those days very wisely. There's a lot of blacked out nights that I don't quite remember, but that's a different story. So what I'm saying is the fact that like when you work 8 hours a day, that gives you, they tell you 6 to 8 hours of sleep, so you still have like 8 hours to do whatever you need to do.
No, it's more like I have 3 hours, 4 hours to do what I want to do, because I am in bed by 9:30.
What I'm saying is so they tell you the average person needs 6 to 8 hours of sleep, right? So we're just going to do math, we're just going to keep it simple.
8 times 3 is 24. There's 24 hours in a day. So 8 hours for a job. But then you got to calculate. It's technically 9 hours because you got an hour of lunch, unless you're spending that hour of lunch grinding. So therefore, you lose an hour. And then,
Fair point.
Then you got to think about your activities in the morning that take time and the activities after work that take time, like commuting, you know.
Or making breakfast.
Or making supper. So then there goes a couple more hours.
Okay, fair point. Like I said, I can speak from, speaking from personal experience. When I was in my 20s, I enjoyed partying a lot. And so I had a lot of, I know, I'm a lot more mature now. Shut up. But I can tell you I had a lot of time to go and party working 8 to 5. Now, looking back on it, do I wish I spent those times a lot better and more productive wise? Yeah. Yes, I do. But I can't change my past, so it is what it is.
Team collaboration. When everyone's on the same schedule, it's easier to collaborate and communicate with coworkers. That is a very true statement right there. But sometimes I like just working by myself. And I wish no one would be around me sometimes, because I love being by myself and working on stuff by myself. Unless it's a 2-man job, then I need 2 people. I need someone. Productivity. A structured routine can lead to focused, uninterrupted work time. Yeah, but think about this. Most people at work, when they're bored, play on their cell phones.
Yeah.
So you think there's a lot of productivity going on?
No. So I have notes, and some of this might correlate, but I have in-depth notes that I will kind of touch more. Once we get through the cons, I'll go through my notes because they're kind of all blended together.
Oh, it's like pro con pro con pro.
So we'll kind of, but yeah, we'll kind of dive into that a little bit more, and it might, like, some of that stuff might shadow over what Isaiah just said. But
so cons: the lack of flexibility, the rigidity of a 9 to 5 schedule makes it hard to adapt to personal obligations or emergencies. Yes, that is very true. Like if something happens and you gotta go, it's kind of hard, especially like sick days. Even sick days, people are like, "Oh, why are you taking a sick day?" It's like commuting stress. Long commutes during peak hours eat into personal time and add to daily stress, which is another reason why I don't like 9 to 5s, because that's when traffic is the heaviest, even though I go way early, so I don't have to worry about that. Reduced autonomy. Fixed hours can restrict creativity and job satisfaction by limiting how and when you work. So, like, my creativity is when I'm going to bed. Like, I have a note. You've seen my notebooks and my phone. They're filled with notes of stupid stuff I think about when I lay in bed. Burnout and disconnection. For many, this rigid structure leaves little room to pursue passions or recharge.
So we're gonna go in a little bit more in depth in this. So the 9 to 5 work schedule, which is the traditional model for most jobs, offers several benefits. One of the primary advantages is the stability it provides. Having set hours makes it easier for employees to structure their daily lives, plan personal activities, and maintain a work-life balance. This consistency also fosters a predictable routine, reducing the stress of constantly adjusting work hours or expectations. Moreover, the 9 to 5 schedule aligns with many societal services, such as schools, healthcare, and public transportation, which operate during these hours. This synchronicity facilitates communication and coordination between various sectors and makes it easier to arrange meetings or collaborate with colleagues and clients. However, this rigid work schedule has notable drawbacks. One major disadvantage is the lack of flexibility, which Isaiah already covered. Employees are often confined to a set schedule regardless of personal needs, which can lead to frustration when personal or family matters arise. The inflexibility can also stifle creativity and productivity, as some people may work more effectively during non-traditional hours. Additionally, the 9 to 5 schedule contributes to long commutes, especially in urban areas. Employees may spend hours traveling to and from their workplaces, leaving them with less time for leisure or self-care. This routine can also lead to burnout, as workers may struggle to disconnect from work after a long day, especially in jobs that involve high stress or heavy workloads. While the 9 to 5 workday offers structure and stability, its rigidity and potential for burnout makes it less suitable for those seeking a more flexible or balanced approach to work. Which is, I understand that's pretty much what you just said too, but like they kind of went into like family emergencies and stuff, which you briefly touched on that.
Another thing is like creativity. I also think about this too. Like when I'm working, I kind of zone out, like especially if I know if I've done it before, I am really bad at just spacing out while doing it, and like that's when I kind of wish I had more of a notepad with me, or I could just stop and write down what my thoughts are, because of the creativity that's in my mind at that point, yeah. And so it's a struggle. It's a struggle. Is there anything you'd like to add to the segment?
No.
Okay.
Basically, so you're talking about creativity and everything and burnout here. So I can speak from personal experiences. my whole life is a giant juggle, and any parent out there can speak on this behalf. So, like, one, I have a full-time job. Two, I am in the National Guard, and so anybody who has, so basically consider that a part-time job, because I know a lot of people out there have part-time jobs. And then on the side, I run a nonprofit, and then I have a family to take care of. So, and I know there are many people out there who are working two or plus jobs and just trying to provide for their family. And to me, that's not right. That's like, and I can tell you there's times where I don't even want to go out to the garage and work on, like, I don't even want to go work on, like, my rat rod builds, or I don't even want to work on a customer's car. There's just times I just want to go home and sit in front of a TV and just zone out to the whole world and leave it behind. Like I said, is I know there's a lot of people out there that work several jobs just to provide for their family, and I could only imagine, like, if I feel this way, I could only imagine what those guys feel like, and we shouldn't be in that situation. Honestly, you should be able to enjoy your time. You should be able to go take vacations, go at least enjoy life and de-stress a little bit. I think that's the reason. Like, you look around this world and you see, like, anxiety and depression and everything else. I understand there's a lot of other factors that contribute to this, but I think one of the biggest factors is the way our economy is right now, and you have to work multiple jobs just to
Profits.
Yeah,
Profits.
yeah.
That's a joke. This brings us to a tough reality. The psychological toll of the 9-to-5 culture, which you were just talking about, buddy.
Yeah.
Way to transition that. In the U.S., many of us feel like we're drowning. Therapy, medication, drugs, breakdowns, coping mechanisms.
There's a huge fentanyl problem going on in the U.S. right now. So, sorry, you mentioned drugs, and that was where...
Oh, it's been going on for years, bro.
Unfortunately, that is where my mind went.
But anyway, you name it. We've tried it. We cram all our living into weekday evenings and weekends, leaving us exhausted and unfulfilled. So, as we talked about this, is you make plans, right? So you got your 9-to-5, and you feel like you got to be there. And then you go to, like, basketball games and family events and social events, and then and that could just be on Monday, right? And then you got Tuesday, and you got another kid's something game, and you got something else and something else and something else. And by the time the weekend hits, you just want to party and relax, and you're not going anywhere because you're just drowning in sorrow.
Is it really bad that that's half of the reason? Like, I've gotten a lot better of going to church with Ivy Rose, my daughter, if no one knows who that is. But that's half of the reason why I stopped going to church, because I was just so burned out from working all those hours that I just didn't want to do anything on Saturdays or Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when I worked, like, the regular 8-hour days, I actually had some ambition to actually get up and go to church on Sundays, and I had ambition to go help mom and dad at the restaurant and so on and so forth. But when your work schedule fluctuates like mine does now, it's really hard to find any sort of ambition to do things on weekends.
Comparatively, other countries do it better. European nations like France and Germany emphasize shorter work weeks and longer vacations, and vacations whenever you want. Nordic countries such as Sweden and Finland have flexible work models that prioritize well-being. These cultures focus on people over profit, correlates with better mental health outcomes and higher satisfaction rates. Denmark has it well, as they pay you $1,000 like per year or whatever. Yeah. And less work weeks and all that stuff. And it's like, hell yeah, man.
So you're talking about like shorter work weeks and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I can't remember the company, but I know it was out of New York. There was a company out of New York, and what they did is they decided they noticed a drop off in their production. So they decided that they were going to give everybody a paid Wednesday off. Like, so you still got your full 40 hours in, and they decided on Wednesday that was going to be a paid day off. They noticed when they started doing that production started going up because people actually had time on that Wednesday to go and do whatever they needed to do, because we talked about it earlier, everything overlaps.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if you need to go to the doctor, you're cutting your schedule out of that work day to go to the doctor, or like a school, or like your kids got something going on at school during the school day, because I know they have like parent days or career days and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you can sit here and you can go, oh hey, every Wednesday I have off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to plan my doctor appointment on that Wednesday. Or oh hey, I'm going to go, or oh hey, my car needs a starter or something. I'm going to go pick up parts on that Wednesday and fix it. Or then at least you're not trying to figure out how to miss work.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
A good example, he's not here right now, but Eli, he always complains because he likes going to town on Fridays and going grocery shopping and going to the bank and stuff, and he can't do that because he works a 9 to 5. Yeah. So every time he gets off work, well, guess what? Everybody else is off work. The bank is closed, you know?
That's a sad, well, you're just talking about banks, right? So, so Union, I'll be honest here, Union Bank used to be open until 6 o'clock. They don't even they're open until 5, and I think their drive-through is the lobby used to be open until like 5:30, and then the drive-through was 6, and now it's like 5 and 5:30, or it might be just 5. I don't remember what I saw the other day on their door, but
and they're closed on the weekends.
Yeah, and they used to be open 8 to noon on Saturdays, and now they're not even open on Saturdays anymore, and I enjoyed that because I could go in on a Saturday, or if I had to work, Shiloh could, my wife, if no one knows who that is, but Shiloh could go to the bank and get me what I needed from the bank on Saturday morning without interfering with her schedule too throughout the week. So like I said, it's crazy how everybody's going, kind of trying to shorten hours and everything else, but yet you're also making it more inconvenient for us.
Meanwhile, in the U.S., the glorification of hustle culture ties our self-worth to productivity. And when we're not productive, we're left feeling like failures. That's not sustainable. That's so America. You gotta win. If you're not winning, you're losing. As I have talked about, it's not about winning or losing. Even if you do lose, you're still winning because you're getting the knowledge to move forward, to push yourself to greatness.
So I kind of dove more into like the mental health side of this, right? The traditional 9 to 5 work schedule, prevalent in many industries, has significant implications for both the human cost and mental health of workers. This structured approach to work, often requiring employees to spend long hours in office environments, has been criticized for its negative effects on well-being. One of the primary human costs associated with the 9 to 5 schedule is the disruption of work-life balance, which Isaiah already mentioned. People are often forced to allocate the majority of their waking hours to work, leaving little time for personal activities, family interactions, or rest. This imbalance can lead to physical exhaustion, reduced quality of life, and strained personal relationships, especially among those with caregiving responsibilities or young children. The impact on mental health is equally concerning. Constant exposure to workplace stressors such as tight deadlines, high demands, and workplace conflict can lead to chronic stress, anxiety, and depression. Workers may experience burnout, characterized by emotional exhaustion, reduced performance, and a sense of detachment from their job. These conditions are linked to long-term mental health challenges and can significantly reduce overall life satisfaction. Moreover, the rigidity of the 9-to-5 schedule can limit individual autonomy and flexibility, which are crucial for maintaining mental health. Workers are often unable to adjust their work hours to fit personal needs, leading to feelings of helplessness and decreased motivation. The lack of flexibility may also I can't pronounce that. Exacerbate stress. Gosh dang it, I can't talk.
Exacerbate
Stress as employees juggle work demands with personal obligations. Additionally, studies have shown that prolonged sitting and sedentary work, common in 9-to-5 office settings, contribute to physical health problems like obesity, heart disease, and musculoskeletal disorders. These physical conditions further exacerbate the mental health toll, creating a vicious cycle of poor health and diminished well-being. The cumulative effect of these factors, work-life imbalance, chronic stress, lack of autonomy, and physical health issues, demonstrates the profound human cost of the traditional 9-to-5 schedule. Addressing these concerns requires a rethinking of work structures with greater emphasis on flexibility, mental health support, and creating environments that foster work-life integration rather than strict separation. Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool just because it went more into the whole mental health side of it and how it could lead to like physical stress on your body, like the sitting for long periods, or even like I know a lot of people that do computer jobs and they have the whole arthritis in their hands, and it ain't arthritis, it's tendonitis. That's the word I'm looking for.
That's why, as you can see, I have some dumbbells right down on the floor. So when I am working on in the computer like all day in this chair, I at least am getting up and doing some curls for the girls, or something to really get the gains.
See, and I just realized there's a segment 4. Did you know in your notes you didn't have a segment 4?
These are the notes I sent you.
Yeah, but the one I downloaded didn't have a segment 4.
Well then, what the heck?
Oh well, I guess we're just gonna read this and talk about it.
Well, because I actually have a question for you at the end of this segment.
Cool.
So what can we do? How can we break free from the soul-crushing cycle while maximizing profits and embracing a healthier lifestyle? Here are some ideas. Time management techniques. If you are not good with time management, now's the time to learn how to time manage time. If you are not having one day from 6 a.m. to noon, you are wasting an entire day. If you do not have another day starting from noon to 4, you're wasting a whole entire another day. And if you don't have a day from 5 to 9, you are wasting another freaking day. That I watched that video like 5 times. I'm sorry. Anyway,
you know it's funny. So, and this speaks volume here too. Like, what a lot of people don't understand about time management is if you're big into sports like I am, and you actually watch sports and you love sports, for example, watch how that game goes and how like people use the clock and try to like manage the clock to score points or to take it to their advantage to leave the other team without time to do anything.
mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, that right there shows, I mean, because you were just talking about like how if you don't have it planned out, so if you have your day planned out and you can actually stick to that time management schedule, you're going to end up winning compared to somebody who isn't as strict and disciplined.
You're going to procrastinate a lot more.
tonight I'm a big procrastinator.
I'm gonna tell you a story. So I know this is way kind of it ties in a little bit, but it's kind of way out. So in high school, football game to for us to go to playoffs, right? I knew it was fourth quarter, but I did not know what time it was. I didn't even know what down it was. And I didn't even know, like, I was the running back. I got handed the ball and I ran. I didn't make a touchdown. I made like 2-3 yards and the whole crowd is cheering and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And everyone's like, yeah, way to go, buddy. We just won the game. Like, let's go, let's go. And I'm like, what is going on? Turns out it was third down and there was only like a minute left, 2 minutes left on the clock.
And now you run out.
And now and I could run it out, and I made a first down so we could keep possession, because it was a 1 point, it was either a 1 point or one score difference, and so I didn't know what was going on. I was just out there playing. I didn't care about time management at all at that, like, during that moment. I was just in the zone.
That's like, I mean, you look a few years ago, I think it was Chiefs in Philadelphia. Like, you look at Jerick McKinnon, he slides on the 1 yard line. Like, he could have ran that in, and Philly could have gotten the ball, and Philly could have went down the field and scored. But no, what does Jerick McKinnon do? He humbles himself, drops himself at the 1 to give Patrick Mahomes the ball to just knee it and win a Super Bowl. Like, that is, like, that's a perfect example of, like, time management right there. Is, and that's the thing too, is, like, you can get the cart ahead of the horse, and that's why I'm using, like, sports analogies here, is because, like you, for example, right? You could have ran it in, scored a touchdown, so on and so forth, but you're still giving the other team a ball. Or like Jerick McKinnon in that instance, he's given Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia the chance to go down and take it into overtime and possibly win a Super Bowl. So the deal is you have to have a perfect time management, because either you can get the cart ahead of the horse or you can procrastinate and be way back here. And that's why time management is so key.
So focus on high impact tasks and set clear priorities to maximize efficiency during work hours. What I like to do is I like to take before work, before the time I even clock in, I am typically working on something. During lunch, I am typically working on something while I'm eating. After work, I'm right here in this chair working on something. Flexible work options. Push for staggered hours, remote work, or a 4-day work week to give employees the freedom to thrive.
Industrial businesses around here, they do like what they call a 410s. And so, you still get your 40 hours in, but you're also getting a 3-day weekend. So yeah, and the other thing too is, like, a lot of government jobs do that too. And the one good thing about government jobs, and I will actually give them credit for this, is basically every holiday out there, you get paid for that holiday. So, like, Monday we'll be celebrating Martin Luther King Day.
Dang it. That means I can't go to the bank on Monday.
So like, for example, and so a lot of your governments, and even Isaiah mentioned, like, your banks and stuff will be closed. And to me, is that system, to me, is a perfect system too. I mean, I wouldn't say it's perfect, but at least you're giving people time off, because at least then they're looking forward to, I mean, it might not really mean much to you as it may someone else, but that's still because some people, I mean, nowadays there's people that got a 4-day weekend. So I mean, I know military people that got a 4-day weekend. They worked their 410s. They were off today. They'll be paid for Monday. So I mean,
yeah,
that's a nice little break in there.
What I think is every federal holiday, all businesses should be closed. I just think that That way we show respect to, all the dead presidents and Martin Luther King. And why do we not have a Malcolm X Day? Why ain't that celebrated? Regular breaks. Research shows that breaks and downtime enhance creativity and mental well-being. If you don't know the 90-20 rule, it's 90 minutes working, 20 minutes break. It is shown to help produce productivity and creativity, and gets you away from what you're working on for a little bit, so that way you don't stress so much.
Yeah, the sad part is a lot of your factory jobs are usually like you get 15-minute break in the morning, and then like at noon you get like a 30-minute lunch break, and then it's like another 15-minute break in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And I know like a lot of people look forward to that, but I think the whole 90-20 idea or theology, however you want to word that, is a lot better, because then you're not constantly, because some of those factory jobs are pretty stressful and exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
Like they take a toll on your body.
Mm-hmm.
So
clear boundaries. Turn off email notifications after work and set firm limits between work and personal life. That's more for if you own a business.
Yeah, as in,
or just your phone. You don't have to have email notifications. Turn off your phone. Spend time with family. Don't be the shoulder-to-shoulder relationships. Be the face-to-face relationships.
Man, that's my saying, bro.
Yeah. Stole it.
I was gonna say the one exception to that, right? So the one exception to that whole boundary thing is, well, there's kind of two, I should say, is like salesmen or like business owners. Because the reason I say that is because, like, if you're a salesman and you're selling a product, if they were not able to contact you in, like, because of their work hour regulations, you should have an open door policy to where they can contact you at like 6:00 at night when they're not doing anything. Business owners are the same way, as I believe that business owners should leave their phones on and stuff, because if you can't get to them during if there's something that goes on in your work schedule that complicates you from making that phone call, you should be able to call them at night. I do believe that you should figure out how to make a balance in there between your work and personal life. Like, I understand, like I said, I understand there's two exceptions that I just made, but they also need to understand, like, hey, this 4-hour gap is for family or something. Like, say they get home at 5 and say, hey, I have a 4-hour window, and so don't contact me during this 4-hour window. If you need to contact me, text me and I will call you back tomorrow. Like, have some sort of policy like that, because then they can call you back. Or if it's like an emergency type situation, then they can call you back right away and get it all sorted out. Because I know you being in construction, you could go do a job and the person gets home at 5:00 and finds something you did wrong, or it doesn't meet his or her standard. Are they going to wait for the next day to call and bitch and moan, or are they going to like call Bobby right there and be like, hey, you screwed up, come back tomorrow?
Yeah, they'll call Bobby.
That's it.
I don't have to deal with it.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying, is that like I said, is that's where I kind of see the whole business owner thing is. Sometimes you can go do a job during the day and then the person comes home and they don't like how your job didn't meet their standard or whatever, or they have some sort of complaint. They're not going to wait till tomorrow to complain to you. They're going to want to call you ASAP and say, hey, come fix this.
Or unless they're me, I just take notes and then I call you at the time you are in business, Cultural shifts. We need to redefine success. Instead of measuring it by hours worked or money earned, we should value well-being, creativity, and meaningful contributions. America, stop having the win culture and actually start having the lose culture where you still win in the end. Come on, guys.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Y'all just got mossed.
Policy change. On a systematic level, advocating for federally mandated paid leave and universal health care could alleviate many stressors.
I'm going to speak on government jobs too now. So a lot of government jobs, like I'm speaking more like the military side of government jobs. With that being said, is the military side of your government jobs, they give you X amount of days for vacation, X amount of days for sick leave, and then they give you X amount of days for schooling. So let's say me as a mechanic wants to go to a transmission school and learn how to rebuild transmissions. I can go to like say a 3-week course down in Kansas City and go and learn how to rebuild Allison transmissions. With that being, and then I don't have to worry about, they're going to pay for the school. Not only are they paying for the school for me to advance my education, they're also paying me to sit in on the school. So I'm not missing any time at work. I mean, I'm missing, you know where I'm going. Yes, I'm missing time at work because I'm in a school, but paycheck wise, I'm not missing any time in the school. And 2, it's helping me advance more. Now, I like that system because in a civilian side of things, you have to go to a night course, and most of the time you're paying that out of your own pocket if you want to go try to advance your career. So why not try to implement a system like that too, where you can get paid to further your education? Because at that point is you're going to be a bigger asset to your company or your business than Joe Blow, who just went to college and doesn't want to do anything else.
So what is your preferred schedule? Like how would you define your preferred schedule?
My preferred schedule?
Yeah, like if you could choose the hours you worked per day, the hours you worked per week. It doesn't have to be 40. I don't know why 40 became a number.
Henry Ford, man.
Yeah, Henry Ford. Yeah, I know. We just learned about it.
Although it's funny, your note said 1926. My note said 1930. So so
the government could have officialized it in 1926.
Yeah. So go do your research.
You still haven't answered my question.
If I had to choose a work schedule, I think what I would ultimately do is I'd go 8 to 5, but it'd be Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, and then I get Tuesdays, Thursdays, and the weekends off.
Tuesday, Thursdays, Fridays, and the weekends off.
Like Monday, basically like 3 days out of the. I mean, I don't care. You could do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or you could do it Tuesday or like. What I think I'd do. I mean, even I could go 4 days, right? I mean, but the deal is I don't really care. I don't really care for that whole 10. Like 4 10s are just stressful on a body.
I never said anything about
I know.
40.
Well, I know, but I'm saying in today's world.
No, not today's world. This is your world.
I know, but what I'm getting at is I've mentioned earlier that people do 4 10s.
Yeah.
What I'm getting at is that system is too stressful because I've worked that system. What I'm saying is if you want an 8-hour day, go like 9 to 5 for 3 or 4 days and then give them a 3-day weekend. To me, that would be ideal because you're not burning yourself out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where was trying to go with the whole 4 10s because I've worked 4 10s and you still get burned out after the 4 10s. So like I said, is if you did 8-hour days, and as much as I love the whole lunch hour thing and how it splits it up, I'd rather work just a full shift all the way.
Right?
Like,
why stop and take lunch?
I mean, I'd rather work like 8 to 4 and then go home.
I would much rather go down and get like a drink of water and sit for like 2 to 5 minutes and then go back and drinking water.
And I'll tell you, that's the cool part of like a military government job is you can work that and you get paid for an hour lunch. So either you can take your hour lunch and go eat somewhere, or you can stay working. So like to me, I'd make that an option. Like if you want to stay working, stay working. If you want to take an hour and go home and have lunch, go do that. But you still get the option of leaving at, I mean, if your day starts at 8 o'clock, you still have the.
My defined is either 4/8 and federal holidays off,
Yeah.
or 4/6. No, 5/6. That 5
I can
times
deal
6
with-
is 30. Yeah, 5/6. Because I have realized, so in New York, right, their law is if you work physically for 6 hours, you have to take a mandatory 30-minute break. In those 30 minutes, I would much rather just go home than sit through that 30-minute break, or either, like finish what I'm doing. I've noticed, like in New York, when I was doing that, I noticed that if I would just work 6 hours, my productivity was higher than when I was working 5/8.
See, the other thing too is I'm not trying to get into like the whole financial side of this too, but you're talking about that. That's the benefit of being on salary. Like I understand you're making X amount of dollars a year, and by the time so you really can't get pay raises, you really can't move up or down. But the deal is if you have to leave work to go take care of like a family emergency or something, you're not losing out on pay.
Also, even if you're not on salary, I thought about this. I even did some of the math. All you'd have to do is say your 40-hour work week, right? You just take that, what you make, just take it 30, divide it, so then you're still getting the same pay, right? Because I don't care about greed, I don't care about money, but you still get the same pay. Then you can take that loss that you're losing out of like tax deductions. I believe you should be able to do that out of tax deductions. So then both parties are winning, or all parties are winning. Now, if I own my own business, I'm gonna go through this real quick. Like if I own a construction, business, it would be, I give you a weekly list, like a daily task and weekly task. And if you finish the weekly task on Thursday or even before Thursday, you will have the rest of the week off.
So it's kind of like commission.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, so in the mechanical world, commission. Okay, so let's say.
Oh, commission? I thought you said commission.
Oh no, commission.
Commission is like more of selling, isn't it?
No, so as a mechanic, a lot of dealerships do it this way. They put you on a commission. So let's say this job takes 3 hours to do. This next job takes 12 hours to do, or whatever. By the time you hit 40 hours, you can go home and you can do whatever, or you can get paid those extra jobs. Now, the downfall with commission is, let's say this job takes 3 hours and you just spent 5 hours doing it.
But
you're only getting paid for those 3 hours.
I'm not doing hours. I'm just, you got 8 hours a day. If you finish it by Thursday, well, guess what? You go spend time with family, and you got holidays off. You got a week for Thanksgiving. You got 2 weeks for Christmas. You got a week for Easter. I don't care. You got all the federal holidays off. I'm going ham,
Well, that's why I said is it's similar. I didn't say it. I said it's like kind of like a commission.
Salary.
But like I've thought about this too. Is like you're talking about if you ran your construction company. I've actually thought about this too. Is like if I ran my own mechanic shop, I don't want like my employees to get burned out. I want them to have like enjoy their time and so on and so forth. I would rather be the one that gets burned out than them. Like that's just the type of person I am. I would rather burn myself out than burn you out. But no, I thought about that too, is like Like, why are we giving all these people like X amount of days or like 2 weeks vacation or whatever? Why not just close up shop for 2 weeks and basically still pay you for that time, and you just close up shop for 2 weeks? Or like, even as you mentioned, like around holidays, I would give them like extra days paid for, you know what I mean? And like, there'd be times where if I wanted to, I mean, I'm not a golfer, but I'm going to use golfing as the reference. If I want to go to a golf course and have my guys play a round of golf for a whole day and we didn't do anything in the shop, guess what? They're getting paid because they're...
Yeah, like Fridays, like we can go golfing, we can be hanging out as bros, you know, doing football, playing basketball, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
I just
play video games.
Like I said, I'm not a golfer, but I know a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
No. So, speaking of video games and everything, there's 2 movies that popped into my head when you said that.
Minecraft.
No. Accepted is one where they basically sit around in
a fake hospital.
They sit around in a fake school and they're getting a degree while having fun and a blast. The other one I thought of was Need for Speed, where they're sitting around in the shop and they're playing racing games and playing video games and bonding. Like, that's honestly, to me, that's the number one problem. Like, I understand the hours burn you out. Like, I get that. But the thing is you don't need to, like, you could keep the 410s. You could keep the 9 to 5. Whatever system you have, but every once in a while, pay your employees to go and, like, I don't care if it's bumper cars or golf or something, but just say, hey, on Wednesday, we're closing up the shop on Wednesday and we're going to go to Lincoln and we're going to go paintballing or laser tag or something. And you show up, you get paid to go do laser tag for a day and you go home. I guarantee you're going to see a difference in morale because one, you're building morale. 2, you're building camaraderie. And so, like, everybody's just going to be a lot, like, that's the thing. That's the problem with our culture these days is nobody, or we've gotten in this system where we go to work, we go home, so on and so forth. We don't, like, build that camaraderie with everyone else. Like, I'm not saying become best friends with your coworkers. That's a really bad idea. Because I know I've known people who became best friends and then it's caused problems.
Well, if you haven't watched last week's podcast, as I explained it, is most people want a nice flowing workflow, and so they become friends so that it's a nice workflow. But then afterwards, you know, if they quit or if they get fired or even out just walking outside the business, you're like a whole different person, you know. So it's just because of the work fit. Anyway, any final thoughts before we close?
No.
What
I can think of.
Okay, so at its core, this isn't just about work, it's about life. It's about reclaiming our passions, our dreams, our humanity from a system that often forgets we're people, not just producers.
So, when you leave a workplace, just put this in the back of your head. Your job and your position, it's replaceable. You're not. But the minute you die, your friends and family and everything else are all going to miss you and it's going to be hurtful. Your job, they could care less. They're just going to go hire the next person to replace you. So
your boss will show up to your funeral and the next day he'll be interviewing the new people.
Yep. So, just that's kind of like your food for thought on this.
So let's have this conversation. Share this episode with a friend, talk about it with your coworkers, and start questioning how we can reshape the future of work together, because if we don't, who will? Also, side note, I forgot to mention this earlier. So I decided I'm going to start doing a little bit more with this podcast. It is something I wanted to do at the beginning of the season, But then I was like, no, and I contradicted myself, but now I'm doing it. If you don't really have time to follow along, but you have time to read like blogs and stuff, I turn these videos into blogs pretty much. So I just released the first one today as a trial. I didn't really do much. I'm going to release this one tomorrow. Well, the day it releases, it will be a little later as I got to, write it or finish writing it. Levi got to go, so we're going to finish this up. Thank you for joining, Levi. Well, I'm going to be creating a blog so you can follow along. So thanks for tuning into the Fruitful Three Show. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you the next time for another deep dive into what really matters. Peace, love, happiness, and unity, and stay fruitful out there, because we're all winners, and even if you are losers, you're still a winner, bro. Let's make this 2025 a good year, and let's win, bro. Let's go.